to do. Okay, so it's our night for it. It's Friday night. Now, there we go. So what we're going to do to avoid any copyright complications with Mr. Tim, I prefer to just go ahead and we'll go through the transcript and we will learn so much. Trust me. Trust me. I listened to the show in full, and so it'll be good. I'll remember with the transcript what he was actually saying. Okay. All right. So, as he says, his name, the name of his channel is the Unsolved Delphi, or the Unsolved. But I always find him by typing in, as you see, the Unsolved Delphi. If I type that in, that's how I find him, just like you find me. If you want to find me, you type in the Prof Delphi. And so if you want to find him, you type in the Unsolved Delphi. Okay? Now, it says, hello, everyone. This is Unsolved. My name is Tim. And we're going to be discussing the Delphi murders. Okay? And we'll skip ahead to a bunch of this. So he says, we're going to do this in a multi-part series, okay, because there's so much information. He says, I know you're all excited to see what the juror had to say, okay? She is female, okay? She's not the same juror. Okay, she's not the same juror interviewed by murder shits. Okay? Okay. And anyway, we'll skip ahead some. Okay. Again, she's not comfortable coming on, blah, 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 blah. And then he makes this pity case for her, and I'll skip over that. So he basically does this whole pity parter. He does his pity party, you know, like, oh, she's emotionally traumatized from trial and from seeing the crime scene photos and from sitting there every day. And it's a hard job being a juror, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he starts here with, the juror said in one of the emails, I would like for you to know that all the jurors selected for this trial are normal, everyday people. We have our own lives. Okay? Going into this was like a wild dream, sequestered, leaving your life behind to determine someone else's fate. You have a couple of days to get everything in order, to pack everything you need, to tell your employer you're not going to be at work for you don't know how long. Okay? I sat in my hotel room almost every night with my notebook, writing the pros and cons. I looked at this man, Richard Allen, and tried to find everything I could to find his innocence. In the days we sat in the courtroom, listening to the witnesses, watching the videos, and watching Richard Allen. If you weren't there, you just have no idea. The guilty side of my notebook outweighed the not guilty side. There was too many things that didn't add up. You sit on those hard chairs day after day looking at crime scene photos of two little girls, autopsy photos, their clothes and bags as exhibits. You keep thinking, how could someone do that? Okay? So listen. We can't go any further without me issuing several comments. Okay? I mean, several comments already. All right? And I totally agree, Aaron Town. That's one of my comments. We'll get into that. But let me back it up. I guess I could be an asshole and do it this way. Okay, you see that? Like a wild dream, sequestered, leaving your life behind to determine someone else's fate. Okay, so you understand what I'm saying here? Just like the other juror, this was an adventure for her. This was fun. This was a step outside of the ordinary. It was titillating. You see what I mean? Like, so far, both jurors have agreed that this was an adventure. This was exciting. Okay? All right. Anyway, that's my first comparison of the two, but let's move on. She says another thing strange to me. Okay, and this is what Aaron Town was hitting at. So she sat in her hotel room every night with a notebook, writing pros and cons, looking at this man, trying to find everything I could to find his innocence. No, no, exactly, exactly, exactly. You see, that's not how it works, y'all. Like Aaron Town said up above. Let me put it back up. Let me put it back up. Okay, let me find it. Where's Aaron Town? She understood nothing about the presumption of innocence and the the bar of beyond a reasonable doubt. She obviously knew nothing about reasonable doubt. Okay? To say that she was looking at everything trying to find his innocence? Eh, no, no, no. That's not how it works. You look at things to try to see what will convince you beyond this reasonable doubt that he is absolutely guilty. So obviously you were looking at things absolutely inside out. This is all backwards. Okay, now what else did we get? She says, okay, she says another one. And honestly, listen, guys, and I'm sure I'm going to get the trolls to clip this. Okay, the mean girls, they're definitely going to clip this. But it's true. And guys, I really need you to open your minds out, open your minds up, and think about being a human being and being able to understand both sides. Okay. I do speak with some folks who believe Richard Allen is guilty. Some of those folks I've spoken to since well before trial. Year 2, 3. So there are a couple folks that I've known for years who happen to think he's guilty. And I obviously vigorously disagree. But I'm not going to not speak with them because they're Satan, because they think so. I actually continue to speak to them to try to crack those minds open and have them understand. But it's interesting here because she says an identical phrase to one of the persons I know who went to trial. Okay. And one of the persons I know who went to trial made the same statement. And she says, if you weren't there, you just have no idea. Okay. Which is an exact verbatim phrase that one of the individuals I know who went to trial and thinks Richard Allen is guilty, that individual also said to me, if you didn't go to trial, you really don't know because you weren't there. You should have come and sat there. To which I easily countered. But I think it's an odd statement to make that if you weren't there, you have no idea. Okay, which is what they say. Right. And also, like Silence says, I know plenty of people who were there and sat their asses in that courtroom who came out saying he's absolutely innocent. So it's both sides. Okay. But you don't have to be in the courtroom to understand the wrongs. I mean, we can go back through all these pretrial motions and see that crimes were committed. Okay. So, and he was railroaded before trial. Listen, honestly, I've heard lawyers say this ad nauseum. Oftentimes, cases are won or lost in pretrial motions, and it's true. You can absolutely see the railroading of Richard Allen in the pretrial motions and hearings. Period. So, anyway, let's continue. And she goes with some more pity party shit, which is I can't function. I need silence. I need someone to talk to. I'm depressed. I can't sleep. I can't go to work. I don't think I'll ever be myself again. And forgive me if I'm getting choked. And he says, forgive me if I'm getting choked up while reading this bullshit, because in the chaos of all the true crime community, so many people forget that these are real human beings. This isn't a game. These are real lives. Anyway, so no, let me say that also. No, probably the reason that she cannot sleep or eat or live with herself and is depressed and sad is because she knows deep within her inner self knows that she absolutely did the wrong thing and there was no evidence against this man. And you're going to learn as we get into this how fickle this woman was in making decisions on this fate of Richard Allen. So let's continue. What else did he say? The juror also said, being a juror for this type of trial, you have to be strong. I really wish this man's supporters were in that courtroom, where many were. There's so much the public doesn't know. No, the public knows a lot. Thanks for being a great journalist that you are now. Okay, let's continue. She goes into all right. Now, dude, like I said, your heads might explode. Your heads might explode. Well, trust me, your head's going to explode right now. She did not want me to share this, says Tim. She sent me a photograph of her with all the other jurors, taken after trial was over. I believe it was Judge Fran Gull and the bailiffs. I said it. She sent me a photograph taken of all the jurors after trial with Fran Gull and the bailiffs. You guys remember the barbecues? What's going on in Indiana? What's going on with the celebrity of the judge and the bailiffs and the jurors and the group photographs and the parties and the good times and the barbecues and the he's cute and the she's a badass? I like the way they dress. So, as the Unsolved says, one of the ways he confirmed her was that she sent a photograph of the jury with Gull and the bailiffs all having a nice time. Right? What's up, Plain Iron and everyone coming in? Yeah, she's a carbon copy but stupider version of juror number one, of the first juror to step forward. All right. So we got so he claims he vetted her with certain documents. We don't know. Okay. So this is amazing to me too, because he makes this startling assertion. He says, this juror went into this with an open, unbiased mind. What the? Especially for the people that'll be criticizing this juror. Again, there'll probably be people criticizing me too and saying, you're just doing this for money and fame. No, I don't think he is. I don't think he's doing it for money and fame. I think he's doing it because it's a story. So, however he landed this story, he's doing it. Okay. But I don't think we've got to blame him for grifting. Listen, I think it's a real low blow to try to blame everyone for grifting, for participating. Look, we should be grateful, honestly. Be grateful that he's brought this forward because we've been asking for jurors to step forward ever since trial's over, and only one had. Okay. So at a bare minimum, you've got to stop shooting the messenger and just say, listen, at least he brought this forward. Okay. Whether you like him or not, don't shoot the messenger. Okay. That's my message. All right. So let's continue. So he says, he shows the jurors' notes, and this it gets startling again. Honestly, prepare to also have your head explode another time, because this is a part where it this is another time. Listen, your fucking head's gonna explode here, because this is troll farm territory, right? What he says here is she says that Richard Allen said, according to the juror, I believe this is one of his mental health counselors. Richard Allen said he, quote, I don't even know if I could say this because I don't want the video to get flagged, that he did something unspeakable to his sister once. So all the people out there who are claiming Richard Allen is some innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong. Again, she says, Richard Allen says that he did something unspeakable to his sister once. So people out there who are claiming Richard Allen is some innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong, apparently during this trial at some point, it was testified that Richard Allen basically fondled his sister at some point, and that he has a, quote, sex addiction. Remember, Troll Farm was saying that he did that to his daughter or his sister or whatever, and that his daughter doesn't love him anymore. Remember all the bullshit PR, the spinning they were doing? Remember all the bullshit spin they were doing and trying to discredit or muddy his, incriminate him, muddy his appearance? So apparently, she believes that Richard Allen molested his sister and possibly his daughter, and his daughter doesn't love him, and he has a sex addiction, and he drinks beer, and blah, 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 blah. All that slander that was spread around in the social media prior to trial. This stupid, watch your language, prof. Adrian, I checked myself, and it's a new day. I saved you from the swear jar. I checked myself. Boy, she almost caused it. She almost caused me to say mean words. All right. This woman literally believes that this guy molested his sister and possibly his daughter and has a sex addiction, and that, like she said, everyone claiming Richard Allen is innocent, average, everyday guy who's never done anything wrong. Apparently, at some point, it was testified. She doesn't even remember, and she was there. You know? Let's continue. All right. All right. But she aligns the sex addiction with taking God in his heart. See, she says she's thinking Richard Allen. No, she says he has a sex addiction and is taking God into his heart now. These are the juror's notes. She's thinking Richard Allen said the girls died in order for him to find God. He never said that. He never said that. It's another one. Thank you. It's a new day. When did he say he killed the girls to find God? Like, what's wrong with this woman? You see? The girls died in order for him to find God. Okay, then she goes further. She says he admitted he was an alcoholic and exhibited a bizarre smile. She then goes further and lies again. Okay, she lies again. She says, well, I wouldn't call it a lie. She does this weird like self-justification of convicting him. Look, she says, everybody says that these confessions were coerced because of the Haldol and because of the drugs he was receiving. But in fact, many of Allen's confessions were before those drugs were ever introduced to him at all. No, crazy lady. No. Everybody doesn't say that the confessions were coerced because of Haldol. Everyone says the confessions were coerced because of his placement in Westville, his death threats from other inmates, and possibly the Odinist corrections guards, consistent traumatization, death threats, intimidation, the lights left on, the starvation, the being in solitary for months and 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 months, while on Prozac, okay, and a diagnosed depressive, okay, while beating his head against the walls, sleeping on the floor, okay, drinking out of the toilet. And then on top of that, yes, at a certain point, at the height of his psychosis, he is administered Haldol, which further exacerbates the problem. So you see how this shit, it doesn't work. Okay? But these are supposed to be the people who decided Richard Allen's fate on absolutely no evidence. What's up? Thank you, Bezo Jones. Was the jury actually just a troll farm? Probably. Yeah. Again, none of this is going back on the Unsolved for presenting this information. This is her stupidity, not his. Just remember that. This is her stupidity. Okay, let me see. Now she tries to tie his alcohol consumption to the murder. She says, again, this is how they do. See, this is how this was all allowed. Okay, this is how this was all allowed. She says, he made a confession about how he killed Abby and Libby. Drank beer that day or that morning, laid in wait. saw the girls, followed them onto the bridge, and said he was doing something with this gun, and he thinks that's when the bullet fell out. Yeah, which would have been what, on the bridge? Let me add another. Okay, no, I'm going to skip that. Okay. Monica Walla on October 30th. Exhibit 302, resume, Dr. Walla, observation of Richard Allen's suicide, confessions. I'm dead now. I can die now. I need to talk to God. Richard Allen doesn't know why he did it. He lost everything. Ask for something so he can kill himself with. He says he killed Abby and Libby, quote, poor little girls. Richard Allen says in one confession, quote, didn't want them to suffer. Well, you know, if he didn't want them to suffer, why did you do this sort of thing in the first place? Is the $1,000,000 question. Yeah, which shows that when he's at the most vulnerable mental state, he's going to say, I don't want children to suffer, which then would lead you to think that he did not cause them to suffer in the first place. Okay. No, of course he believed her because he's a guilter, Kali Yuga. Thank you, Kali Yuga. Yes, I'm not saying that he doesn't believe her. He believes her all the way and supports her because he thinks Richard Allen is guilty. But I'm saying you still don't blame him for presenting her, because what, would you rather not have this? Like, that's where we have to learn to be human beings. Listen, would you rather not have all this to show how terrible this was, or would you rather have it? So therefore, you should be glad that he's there to provide this. That's why you don't shoot the messenger. Okay? Sorry, and that's just the way I feel. And if you don't agree with it, then go somewhere else. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to bring it back. Zoom it. All right. Oh my God, dude. The court observer, Jay, you're awesome. The court observers made it seem like they had jurors with a clue. Where were these dingbats sitting? You did a shibby. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. Okay. Where were these dingbats sitting? For real. Come on. All right, so let's continue. All right, so listen, we're going to go to Q&A now with this juror. So let me pull up a question. All right. All right. Let me get to it. It says, he says he's gotten about 40 emails from this juror. Okay, by the way. All right, so let's see. Looking for question number 1 here. Let's see. Did any of the jurors, all right, did any of the jurors wish or discuss whether they thought it would have been useful had Richard Allen taken the stand himself in his own defense? Okay, did anyone Did anyone of the jurors wish or discuss whether or not they thought it would have been useful if Richard Allen had taken the stand? Okay. All right. Here's the answer. I cannot speak for other jurors. While the Fifth Amendment protects us against self-incrimination, and here's where it gets crazy. I believe if someone is truly innocent, then why not take the stand? Again, this juror is insane. She says, I believe in the Fifth Amendment, but if he's innocent, why not take the stand? Ooh, that's rough, bro. That's rough. I found out later Richard Allen's well-being hindered his ability to assist in his own defense. I also learned from sources. Who are the sources? Who are the sources? That's weird. And listen to what she claims these anonymous sources say, that these actions were attempts to manipulate his situation. And she doesn't state what sources those are, but I'm just giving you what her answers are. So hold on. So she says that she's learned from her sources that Richard Allen acting crazy was an attempt to manipulate his situation. Sounds like this may be juror misconduct. Was she talking with people? Who are these sources? Also, question number 2. Okay, let me blow it up again. Question number 2. What were the jurors' impressions of Richard Allen throughout the trial? I cannot speak for other jurors. My impression of Richard Allen throughout the trial is he fidgeted a lot, rolled his eyes often, and laughed at times. Okay. Excuse me, young lady. Excuse me. Those are all side effects of the medication he had been on and his isolation for a year and a half. You clearly don't understand his medical problems. All right. Rolled his eyes often, laughed at times. Then she goes even further. I noticed his attorney, Andrew Baldwin, coddled him. Okay. Placed his arm around Richard Allen often. Excuse me. He's on medication, so his eyes are rolling. He's a little fidgety and weird. His attorney is just being a nice guy. Like, it's okay, Rick. You know, Rick's been in hell on earth for over a year and a half or more, like in solitary. This is one of the few experiences he gets with other people. So Andy Baldwin's being like a good other human to him. And you're terming that as coddling? What's up, Charlie Grill? Hey, long time no see. That's my buddy, Charlie. Charlie, look, I love you, man. Love you, bro. Love you. Long time no see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Aaron. They did this to him on purpose, including the torture and abuse. It's just, this is what we're dealing with. All right? It's insanity. Like I said, I told you, if you thought this woman could not be any more stupid than the first one, she's angry the lawyer coddled him because she assumed from day one, no, before day one, that he was the killer. Right. Remember, she's looking for reasons to find him innocent. You know, she's looking for reasons to find him innocent, not guilty. What in the world, bro? This is the world we're living in. Oh my, dude. This is why, man, I tell you. Okay, never mind. Let me keep going. Uh, uh, she thought his body language. This is the creator here. The creator says this juror thought his body language and his behavior and her own personal feelings uh, and related in email exchanges with him. Um, so he claims he has 40 emails, and all of this you're hearing here, by the way, all of this is a result of emails. She's not on the show, okay? She's not on the show telling this story. This is all like somehow through Q&As, through emails and 40 emails, whatever. All right. So where are we? Let's see. I got to get back to this. Question number 3. That's what we're important here. Question number 3. Were there any defense or prosecution witnesses that you found particularly compelling that had you leaning toward guilt or innocence? Okay. Ready for the head to explode? Cecil, number 1. He was to the point. He looked at the jury. He spoke, and you could tell he was serious about his work. Cecil is absolutely one of the worst. Remember, he's the one that said that shape on the tree was spatter, blood spatter. Okay. Also, Oberg, the junk science ballistics. Okay, the junk science ballistics. Oberg, forensic firearms examiner. She was on the stand the entire day, and we watched videos of how to look for specific markings that a particular firearm could cause, as the inside toolings are not the same as what I find, are not the same as the other ones. She says, what I find interesting about this in my exchange. Oh, he says, what I find interesting in my exchange is she was telling me a lot of the experts at the defense team had come forward regarding the firearms and other evidence. I guess the defense didn't have somebody physically look at this evidence. They looked at photographs. Now, that's one of my major. I'm sorry. I fucked up. Thank you, Silence. See, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. Cicero. That's right. See, the 2 C's got me. That's right. Cicero and Cecil. So I got it wrong. Apologize, viewers. Of course, you're going to clip that and you're going to go post it somewhere to be mean and make me look stupid. It's okay. But let's move on because it's worse. Like I said, she said not only was it Cecil, but Oberg with the shady fucking junk science where they couldn't even eliminate Brad Weber's gun or any other fucking firearm. Okay? But like I said, what really infuriates me is defense. Because I will tell you every time, and hey, whoever's in here that loves the defense, I'm sorry. I like them, but I don't love them. Because there's so many things. There's so many things that this defense did not do properly. Okay, and they'll call us Sunday morning quarterbacks, whatever they fucking want to call us, Monday morning quarterbacks, whatever they want to call us. Yeah, you can call us. Okay, we're criticizing after the point. But for me, there's so many things that the defense failed to do. They dropped the ball. They just didn't do. I mean, dude, don't even get me started. That could be a whole couple shows of all the things the defense did not do. Okay? Moving on. All right. So we're saying it gets worse, though. Let me pull it down. Trust me, it gets worse. because you're not going to believe what you're about to hear. Trust. Get ready. The heads are going to explode again. Okay. The heads are going to explode again. So, okay, here we go. This is going to explode the heads. Okay. Not this one yet. No, we're getting to it. Okay. This is kind of middle ground, but let's get past this to get to the really alarming shit. Okay. Did hearing Richard Allen's voice help your decision? Did Richard Allen hearing his voice at trial help you? Answer: when I first watched the first interview and heard Richard Allen speak, the hair stood up on my arms. She believed when she heard Richard Allen's voice in those interviews compared to Guys Down the Hill, she absolutely believed that it was the same voice. As soon as she heard it, there was no doubt in her mind. The hair stood up on her arm. Now, y'all, the important point about that, remember, who was it that said that voice belongs to Richard Allen? Who said that should have not been allowed to say that? Brian Harshman. Remember, Brian Harshman said, oh yeah, that's his voice. And I'm wearing a suit. I'm from the state police. I'm a very serious man. And I listen to thousands and millions and hundreds of hours. And I promise you, that's his voice. And she said, oh yeah, oh, the hairs are standing up on my arms. Telling you. You can't make this shit up with these people. And it gets worse. This continuously gets worse till the end. Okay, he says, she says, Richard Allen was caught lying. Okay, caught lying. He said he didn't go out on the bridge. Officer, you said you weren't out on the bridge. And again, these are from her notes. Richard Allen, no, I didn't, officer. You said you walked out on the first platform. You said you were on the bridge. Richard Allen, of course I was. I told you that. I told you I was on the bridge. And there are several times during this case when Allen clearly gives contradictory information about this while being interviewed, and she's right there. There was one time when he says during his interrogation that he didn't go out on the bridge and he didn't tell his wife, Kathy, that he went out on the bridge. And then she later finds out after he's interviewed, oh yeah, he admits that he did go out on the first platform. And that shows deception, even if it's small deception or a small detail. Well, if he originally says, I didn't go out on the bridge, and when he's being interrogated, and then he says, yeah, well, I went out on the first platform later, that's contradictory information. That was a factor to this juror. Yeah. It's true, man. It's true. Like I said, I know it makes you want to cry. I mean, it makes you want to fucking cry. How bad this shit is. It's truly an injustice. Okay. All right, so let's continue. Then she goes into drum roll, the clothes that he was dressed like bridge guy. Yes. She goes into the clothes. She goes into the clothes. She goes into the clothes, y'all. He said he was wearing a black Carhartt, like off-brand, and maybe some other clothes, and maybe he was wearing a blue jacket and He looks like bridge guy. Okay. Then she says, oh, and by the way, where's his cell phone? He's got all these other cell phones. Where's his cell phone? Where's his cell phone? Yeah, lady. How about this? Why don't you ask the state of Indiana, the prosecutor's office, why they didn't do an analysis of his Google user data, or the whatever other fucking thing that's called, where they take all of the advertising data that pushes to the phone through Google and all these other apps. Uh, what is that called? Not the geofence, the other thing they do with the phones where they get all the advertisers' data. I made a whole show about it. I can't remember it. Why didn't they do the work they needed to do? Because they had his phone information. Okay. Remember this. Remember this. They had Rick Allen's phone information, right? They could have easily submitted that to the cell provider and gotten all of his proprietary shit. Well, why didn't the state do that? Was that information potentially exculpatory? Did it show that he was maybe there earlier? And so they just didn't provide it in discovery? Or did they potentially show that the phone was not there at all? Maybe he left it at home, but even though he said he was on it, or did it show it he was indeed on it and he was indeed there, but it was hours earlier? You got to ask yourself these questions, because surely they could have. Look, we got the NSA, we got the FBI, we have the whatever that fog reveal is what it's called. We got fog reveal, where they could have easily done a fog reveal for all of that advertiser data and the GPS location, all the shit associated with that phone, even though they don't have the physical phone. Are you guys kidding me that the prosecutor wouldn't have gone through those steps to try to put him there? And if that it indeed put him there at that place and time, that they would have used it? I'm not buying that the state doesn't have that information. I think they had that information and it was not useful in prosecuting, so they disappeared it. And that's my conspiracy theory for all you mean girls. All right. But she says he had a bag full of old cell phones and shit. And then where's his phone from that day? Oh, he must have killed 2 little girls. You see? Let's see. Now, this right here, this is. Okay, let's read it. Were there any evidence or witnesses that made you think Allen could be innocent? Important question, right? All right. Again, what am I saying? I'm saying any evidence or witnesses that would make you think he could be innocent. Hey, Mandy, thank you so much. That's adorable. Thank you for sending that. You don't have to, but oh, that's so sweet, and we thank you so much, Mandy. All right, listen. Hey, Paula, welcome everyone who's come in. I see so many people have come in. Commentator Root, people came in who I haven't even said hello to yet. Welcome everyone. Listen, this is important here, okay? But even more important, like I say, it keeps getting worse and worse in this case. Okay, the defense focused on Richard Allen's mental state, how he was treated in prison. Dr. Dwanger, psychologist, oversees mental health of the prisons. She never met Richard Allen, but she discussed Richard Allen's mental illness, even though she never met him. What? Yeah, but this is what she does. She reviewed all of everything and came and confirmed that he was indeed in a deep state of psychosis, which all of you seem to selectively forget. All right. Continuing. Could Richard Allen be feigning his symptoms? Now, this is called leading the witness. Okay, could Richard Allen be feigning his symptoms to not be put in general population as he was being threatened by other inmates? Dwenger answered, yes, it's possible. And then she says, like, what I think is some bullshit. Richard Allen was examined for delirium. He did not have it. Bullshit. No, he was examined and she determined he was in full-blown psychosis. You know? This may have been a ruse in order to be avoiding being put in general population. And then she says, a lot of people say, well, there was a lot of things the judge didn't allow in, like Odinism or Elvis Field or anything else. But again, I find it interesting the defense even came out with Odinism at all, though. It wasn't allowed because there was never any real credible evidence. Bullshit. Elvis Field's sisters, Amber Holder, Todd Click, Greg Ferenczi, Kevin Murphy. See, this is where he now goes into shilling. Okay, he now goes into drinking the Kool-Aid and shilling. Okay, and this is the guy. This is not the juror. This is not the juror. This is this host. Okay, like I said, he is a Kool-Aid drinking, bootlicking prosecution shill. Don't get it twisted. He says, I think that's why Frank Gold didn't allow it, because she said, hey, defense team, you have to give us some sort of credible information that other people were out there. And in pretrial, the defense failed to meet the burden of evidence to include that information. Wrong. She was a biased judge. You have to meet the burden of evidence to include that information in trial, because otherwise you just start letting them include anything they want in a trial and it becomes a three-ring circus, just made up bullshit potentially, and the defense team could just start wasting people's time and throwing shit against the wall to see what sticks, to muddy the waters. And that's why pretrial hearings exist, and that's why evidentiary hearings exist in the first place, to make sure that only pertinent information, discovery, and evidence is allowed into trial. And you know, there's going to be some people who say, well, there's some stuff that should have been allowed in. Yes, because she was biased. Yeah, because she was biased. Judge Gold. See, that's why you're not supposed to have a judge that exhibits bias. Because yes, the evidentiary hearings, the pretrial hearings are to determine this stuff. And your judge is supposed to be unbiased in it. But when you have a biased judge, see, that's what you're leaving out, sir. When you have a biased judge that does not fairly decide on these issues and these matters, then things are left out that should be included because they are pertinent and are factual and are relevant. And remember, everything these attorneys tried to have in were actually law enforcement product. But she was biased. She was a biased, unhinged, terrible, corrupt judge. I'm getting mad. See, this is when I start losing it. And we haven't even gotten to the thing that really makes me the most angry yet. Okay. But see, he's absolutely fucking ridiculous because he can't understand that typically it's supposed to go the right way. That's why it's formulated in that way. But when you have biased judges in it, corrupt judges, they hold sway over the entire outcome. Like I said, any good attorney will tell you cases are won and lost in pre-trial motions and hearings. All right, let me continue. Ooh, serenity now. Serenity now. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. All right, let's continue. We're almost there. We're almost done, y'all. We're going to end early tonight. All right. But then he goes and he bootlicks a little more and he says, you know, that's why Richard Allen has appeals. That's why he has attorneys working for him. That's not my job to determine. Again, just sharing information with everybody. Yeah, and trust me, if the appeals process is not corrupt, which is highly unlikely because we're dealing with Indiana, if it has any integrity whatsoever, Judge Gold will be addressed by the appeals court. But who the fuck knows? Because this whole thing is looking like an entire scam to bury what actually happened to Abby and Libby, because it probably opens up the door into something so fucking huge, even the feds probably want to hide it. All right. Let's continue. Where are we? Let's move on to question number 7 now. Okay. Now that you've researched the case way more after trial, do you think any claims of Allen's supporters have any merit to them, or are most things nonsense in your opinion? Well, that's a leading question. You shouldn't have offered up that word, nonsense. Come on, man. This is a leading question. She says, Richard Allen supporters, Richard Allen describes himself as bridge guy from what he was wearing, basically. Witnesses saw bridge guy but not Richard Allen, because Richard Allen has his identity hidden behind his overdressed coat and tucking himself, which she means tucking in or hiding behind all the layers of clothing. Not one witness saw two persons dressed exactly the same, which is the elephant in the room that you're ignoring, juror. All witnesses described different people. And not only that, no one described Richard Allen. And not only that, no one identified Richard Allen. And not only that, no one could even identify that Richard Allen was the person they were attempting to portray in the sketches that were produced. Sorry, I got a little pissed. Okay, I don't have any chocolate, y'all. I'm out, so I can't chill. Oh my God. All right, I'm getting there. Okay. Supporters focus on the fact that there was no DNA, therefore Richard Allen is innocent. Yes. And her response to that? All I have to say is they should have been in the courtroom, because everything they heard and seen is not the whole picture. There's more they haven't heard and haven't seen. Moving on. I'm not even. Okay. Question number 8. Do you have any message for the victims' lying ass families? For the families of the girls? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I stutter? I'm so sorry. Bless you. And I have I wish I could have, she say, I'm so sorry. Bless you, Becky Patty. And I very much wish I could have walked over and given you all a hug. All right. That's the juror's message to the victims' families, the Patties. Okay. She wished she could have walked over and given them a hug and apologized. And it's just heartbreaking what happened. And listen, it gets worse. Ready for some heads to explode? Y'all get ready now. This is for all you Kathy Allen supporters. Listen to this one. Listen to this one. Do you have any message to Richard Allen's wife or family about his conviction? I am sorry for Richard Allen's daughter. I can't imagine the adverse effects. Richard Allen's wife, you tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew that those were powerful words. Okay? Those are powerful words. And I think the juror makes a valid point. Again, for Richard Allen's daughter, Can't imagine the adverse effects this would have on you. To Richard Allen's wife, you tried to keep him quiet on the phone. You knew just how powerful stuff from this, uh, you knew just how powerful those words were. So she's going into blaming Kathy Allen. Okay. Now, question number 10. A bonus. He says, if okay, this is the one that makes me mad. It's hard to know where to start this. Let's see. Here's the one I'm trying to get to. This is the grand finale of bullshit. Okay. Sarah Carbaugh alleged seeing Richard Allen allegedly muddy and bloody on 300 North. And she just flat out says she believed Sarah Carbaugh, and she showed me her notes. And what she's referring to is she believed Sarah Carbaugh. She believed Sarah Carbaugh's testimony, and she believed it was very powerful and believable and very passionate, very passionate. She believed Sarah Carbaugh, and she believed her testimony, and that she was very passionate about what she saw. She says, despite the fact that there are a lot of people who have criticized the fact that Carbaugh waited some period of time for like a week or two to come forward and tell people what she saw, I'm not saying I believe this or that about her testimony. I'm merely sharing, he says, what the juror thinks. Based on the testimony she saw, that she witnessed from Sarah Carbaugh during trial. And anyway, so that's it. So as you can see, this is the end of it. And he goes on and he closes out with some blah, blah, blah. But basically, that's it regarding that. Hey guys, guess what? My little hero delivered to me a special surprise I didn't know I had. Mm. My little hero was listening, and he went and he found my little piece. Aha, that's funny. That was skunk jerky. See, if we were in Kentucky, that would be a thing. All right. All right. So, that was delicious. Okay. Second win. Look, here's a point. This idiot believed Sarah Carbaugh and actually admired her and thought that it was compelling and that she was passionate. When 90% of the people coming out of that courtroom said that she was fucking unhinged, she lost control, and she had a bad attitude and was not believable, even the first juror to come out said that no, I didn't pay attention because the defense did a good job of making her sound stupid or look stupid or seem stupid or whatever. So, like I said, you think it couldn't get any stupider than the first juror? Well, here you go. And we're not done with it, like I said, because remember, this person, the Unsolved, says that there's several episodes to come. There's several more. So, so that's it. That's it as far as that goes. So I would like to thank Mr. Tim at The Unsolved. Again, you can type in The Unsolved Delphi. Okay. And you can go to his channel and see that for yourself and anything else. The Unsolved. And now we're going to get back into Daddy's going to lecture. Okay. Daddy's going to do a little lecture real quick. Just a sec. Now, look, I'll fully admit to you that I don't agree with Tim at all. I don't like what he's doing with this channel much at all. But there's more than that because, like I said, we have to start allowing people to be themselves, to coexist, to be people. We got to stop shooting the messenger and being so fucking insane with the way that we handle people we disagree with. And I think you've seen a lot of examples of that in my time here on YouTube. Look, you've seen that for the entire time I've been on YouTube, I had a contingent of people going after me relentlessly, who I call the troll farm. They're the bunch of local meth heads who love burying the case for Becky Patty. Okay? You've seen them threaten to kill, send shit to my house, send shit to other people's houses, stalk, harass, dox, go insane, do endless live streams, make terrible videos, spend money, try everything they can because they disagree with me. And in the past 2 months, you've seen who I have termed the mean girls, or Troll Farm 2.0, who you may know as the cranks. Relentlessly do the same thing. Threatened, harass, dox, cyberstalk, bully, dox, shame, make videos on, do lives. You see? Because they disagree with questions I'm asking. But I want to show you this because I think that I need to make this statement after what I've seen yesterday and today. Because you see what happened when the Unsolved published this video, which was let me go ahead and see if I can do this. A couple days ago, So it's been a couple days. On the 28th, he published it. So a couple days ago on the 28th, he published this. And immediately, these mean girls, the cranks, Troll Farm 2.0, because they don't know how to regulate their emotions, because they don't know how to gracefully disagree, because they don't know how to behave without doxing, harassing, threatening, brigading, swarming, terrifying. They all went over to his Twitter, where I said they've terraformed for years to establish a footing. They all went over to his Twitter as a group, gang stalked him, doxed him, harassed him until they were all blocked. And this is someone trying to be cute here, saying, cranks went so hard, I got blocked. I haven't even been on the twits hardly today. Certainly this was the first time I clicked this page. I didn't even know his name. And I've redacted his name out of respect to not dox. But as you can see, they went and they trolled him so hard because they didn't like what the juror said. It's not the way you should handle yourselves because you've done the same things to me. Yeah, I had to block you all too because you're fucking obsessed. You're completely emotionally dysregulated. And you don't know how to communicate your points like human beings. You're true bullies. And so that's Daddy's advice for tonight is don't do that. You could have done a whole lot more calmly talking with him. But can't teach an old dog new tricks. So that's the end of my show for tonight, y'all. It's the Profs Friday Night Fights round 6. And that was all that I wanted to say about the questions about the defense expert fundraiser and the juror or second juror interview. And so not a night of good news, unfortunately. It's all really yucky. And hey, like I said, that's the norm for Delphi. Okay, the norm for Delphi is yuck, chaos, anger, rage. Remember what I said? The tentacles, how complicated and yucky. Anyway, though, I wanted to give a special extra shout out to our sponsors tonight, especially first and foremost, Mr. Mark Ellis for the sponsorship super chat. Thank you, Mark Ellis. Also, thank you to Dom S, Kate Eleanor, Tara B, It's a New Day. Tara B gave like 2 or 3. Geez, Tara. Dieter gifted a membership and gave a super chat. But for some reason, how did I miss all these? Look. Hey, Dieter. I hope you're still around. I missed this one. If I'm being told not to ask a question, I'm about to ask all the damn questions, but I've been called difficult and other things. Well, Adrian and Prof keep asking. The buck stops somewhere, always. And thank you, Dieter. I'm sorry I missed some of these. Okay. We also had Jake Brooks gifted the Tim Prof memberships. Okay. So thank you so much, Jake Brooks, for those memberships. I'm so happy that 10 viewers will get membership for a while and get to enjoy having a star and whatever else we do. Also, Mandy Gillian, thank you so much. That's extra sweet and cute. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Remember, please post Heather Brown's fundraiser real quick, one of you. Uh, Listen, our beautiful friend Heather Brown is going through it right now, and she could use all the support she can get to make life easier while she goes through this difficult period so she doesn't have to worry about money. So please not only go donate to her fundraiser, but please do me a favor and go and share. So donate to her fundraiser and then share her fundraiser, please. Okay, I would so appreciate that. And I know she would too, because you never know if you share her fundraiser uh, with your network, someone you would never know may end up just sending her a gift to make life easier for her because they knew someone with cancer or the unmentionable. So please, 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 we really appreciate it. You don't convince people of your viewpoint by screaming and making fun and bullying and cancel them. Yes, indeed. Okay. You don't. You have to reasonably discuss, and it may take some time. That's the thing. No one is immediately gonna agree to shift their whole worldview for you. But maybe over the course of a month or 6 months or a year, you never know. People can change. I've seen people here in this comment section dramatically change since I've been on YouTube, which is only 2 years. Anyway, so God bless you all. That is the Heather's fundraiser, which is GoFundMe, support Heather Brown's battle with cancer. Okay, there you go. Click the link. You can donate to Heather Brown and to support her while she goes through this difficult time. And also pray for her, please. And do me a favor, pray for Cosmo. She's another friend of ours of the channel who is going through some difficulties right now. So please pray immensely for Cosmo. And that's what it is. Okay, we missed Heather, yes, and Cosmo. And not only that, look, I want to say everything we've done has always been for Abby and Libby because remember, they're not here to speak for themselves. Okay, so we're here to assist them, and so that maybe by us speaking up, they do receive some sort of justice. And we know that this trial for Richard Allen was no justice because what kind of justice involves all of the bad feelings at the end of the process like has happened? Because a very small percentage believes that justice was served, and it's only caused controversy, consternation, a bunch of bad feelings, and chaos. And that's not justice for Abby and Libby, because the true justice for Abby and Libby would be true closure for the Delphi community and all of the people. Okay, so yeah, I'll pray for Dom S too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Zaddy. Pray for Cosmo, Heather, and also Dom S is having some medical problems. Pray for Dom S too, okay? And F the mean girls, says Dom. So yeah, please hit the like too. Okay, hit the like on the way out of here. We're getting out of here. Go on to Dirty Diana's if you want to go have fun with Diana. Diana's going to do some stuff. Enjoy it. If you're on the replay, do me the greatest service in the world. Hit the Cash App, buy me coffee, and leave comments down below. Because the comments down below are the most awesome thing in the days after these streams. And I get comments 6 months, a year later sometimes. So please continue to, if you've watched this on the replay and we're no longer live, please drop a comment below and let us know what you thought. So God bless you all. It's a new day. Aaron Town, Elby, Barbara Borman, Zaddy, Mandy, Shibby, Dom, Elby, Silenced, American Night Mom, Trial Junkie, Dirty Diana, Aaron Town was here, Silent G, Post Apocalyptic, Marie Kelly, who else was here? Four Pits, thank you, Four Pits, Aaron Town, as I said, Aaron, commentator Root, Plain Iron, Lisa, shit. Everybody was here earlier. Jennifer and Dieter, and of course, Mark Ellis, Kate Eleanor, everyone who's here super early. Thank you for being here super early. I'm getting out of here. Oh, Charles, Necessary Evil. Okay, Christine was here. We had a whole lot of people here. Five Green Acres. Jay was here. So everybody. Adrian was here. Lilu was here. Uh, Everybody was here. Appreciate it. This was a nice stream, and I'm getting out of here. Okay, so we'll see you later. Peace out. God bless Libby and Abby. God bless Heather, Dino, Cromley, Cosmo. Shit. Everybody needs a blessing. Bless you all. And also my buddy, Charlie. Okay. Anyway, I'm out of here. Peace out. God bless Libby and Abby. Hide your kids, hide your wife.